Hey everybody, welcome to Crack a Pack Tuesday number 43 on the Mana League. I'm John as always, and it's time for some more Oath of the Gatewatch. We are solidly into this format now. I've got a few drafts under my belt, a few sealed events. I'm starting to get some solid card evaluation on this set. So we're going to open this pack, see what's in it, and see what we would take pack one, pick one, if this were a draft. Up first, we have a Spark Mage's Gambit. This is a 1 and a red sorcery. It says Spark Mage's Gambit deals 1 damage to each of up to 2 target creatures. Those creatures can't block this turn. I didn't play this, but my partner played this in a two-headed giant event that we did this weekend. It did a lot better than I expected. There are a number of X1s in the format, and making 2 things unable to block does mean that you can get through for some damage here and there. I would never go out of my way to play this, but I would play this as a 23rd card pretty without too many regrets. I would be okay with this as a 23rd card, just like I am with some various auras and things like that. Other than that, more sideboard if you do see a lot of X1s, especially any X1s that you really want to make sure that you take out. But certainly not a first pick, and not one that I'm going to go out of my way to get. Next up, we've got McKindy Aeronaut. This is 1 and a white for a 1/3 flyer, creature core scout ally. I constantly think that this is Shadow Glider for some reason. I'm not sure why. I mean, it looks like Shadow Glider, it's just not in the shadows. A 2/2 flyer is obviously much better than a 1/3 flyer. This just doesn't do enough work most of the time. I'll side this in if I find out that my opponent is more of the beatdown than I am, but I never really want to main deck this card, basically ever. So certainly not first picking it. Next up, we have Umara Entangler. Umara Entangler is 1 and a blue for a creature merfolk rogue ally. It's a 2/1. It has prowess. It's fine. A 2/1 for 2 is totally fine. It's slightly below a 2/2, but it's still pretty okay. Obviously dies to Spark Mage's Gambit, but that's fine. The prowess is cool. It's just a little bit of bonus. Here and there, you'll get a prowess trigger and get an extra point of damage or so, but don't really rely on that. Don't expect that to happen all the time. You know my prowess rant. Your deck is going to be vastly more creatures than it is non-creature spells. So you're going to get a couple triggers out of this maybe, and that'll be fine. But it's fine by itself too. Not a first pick though. Next up, we have Pulse of Marasa. Pulse of Marasa is a 2 and a green for an instant. Return target creature or land card from a graveyard to its owner's hand. You gain 6 life. The 6 life is nice. It is a sizable increase, and you do get a card back to your hand, and hopefully it is a creature of some value to you, but it's not that great. I'm not going to go out of my way to pick this, and again, it's kind of 23rd or maybe even 24th card. I would feel a little bad main decking this, whereas Spark Mage's Gambit, I'd just kind of be okay main decking it. Certainly not first picking it. Next up, we've got Zulaport Chainmage. This is 3 and a black for a creature human shaman ally. It's a 4/2. It's got cohort. Tap, and on-tapped ally you control. Target opponent loses 2 life. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. If you can get this in a black-white ally deck, you're going to be just taking a bunch of life out of your opponent. If you can attack with this thing, you're going to take twice as much life from them. Really good card. I'm a pretty big fan of Zulaport Chainmage. I wouldn't want to first pick it. I hope that the pack isn't that bad, but I have seen some pretty bad packs of Oath of the Gatewatch. There's a lot of mediocre stuff in these packs, it seems. But yeah, I would first pick it if need be, but hopefully that's not the need here. Next up, we have Elemental Uprising. Elemental Uprising is 1 and a green for an instant. Target land you control becomes a 4/4 elemental creature with haste until end of turn. It's still a land. It must be blocked if able this turn. This is decent on turn 2. And, well, not even turn 2, sorry, turn 3, because you want to be able to attack with it, obviously. But even there, you're starting to run into the danger of your opponent killing your land and you now being really behind. I've seen a lot of people play it, and I just don't ever think that it's correct. 4/4 is big, so they are going to have to do a fair bit of work to kill it off, but it still can happen, and later in the game it's going to happen even more likely. Just be very careful with this card. I'm not a big fan of it. It's kind of 24th card for me as well. I'll keep an eye on it though, because 4/4 is big, but I don't know. I just don't know about it. Let me know how you've done with it, if it's been good for you or not, or good against you. But for me, I'm currently still out on it. Next up, we have Core Sky Climber. Core Sky Climber is 2 and a white for a creature core soldier ally. It's a 3/2. Pay 1 and a white. Core Sky Climber gains flying until end of turn. Totally solid. It's a 3/2 for 3 already. That's fine. That's total filler. You'll put it in your deck and you'll be fine with that. Being able to fly for 2 mana is really, really, really good. That's mana that you'll have kicking around here and there. That means that you can be very aggressive with this, and you can also hold off your opponent's flyers, which is pretty handy too. I'm a big fan of it. I would never want to first pick it. I would take the Chain Mage over this, but I would take this relatively highly mid-pack when I know that I'm in white and I want to be kind of aggressive. Next up, we have Vampire Envoy. Vampire Envoy is 2 and a black for a creature Vampire Cleric ally. It's a 1/4 flyer, and whenever Vampire Envoy becomes tapped, you gain a life. Really solid card. It's totally fine. Again, not first pickable at all, but this thing blocks like crazy. It blocks almost all the flyers in the format that aren't rare. It attacks in for 1 point of damage, and it gives you a life, so it's a 2-point life swing. Just totally fine. Again, really would not ever want to first pick this, but hopefully the pack picks up. Next up, we have Cinder Hellion. Cinder Hellion is 4 and a red for a creature Hellion. It's a 4/4. It has trample. When Cinder Hellion enters the battlefield, deal 2 damage to target opponent. Totally fine. 4/4 for 5 trample is fine. You'll play that. It's probably ever so slightly above filler. Being able to do an extra 2 damage to your opponent right away, also totally fine. I would not want to first pick this, but I would pick it relatively highly if I was in red, especially kind of like big red-green stompy kind of decks, but not first pick. Holdout Settlement. It's a land. Tap, add a colorless mana to your mana pool. Tap an untapped creature you control. Doesn't have to be ally, so it's not exactly cohort here. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Totally solid. This is infinitely better than wastes. If you want colorless mana, get these. Get these, because these tap for colorless mana, and for anything else, they fix your mana. It's just a super solid land. I don't want to first pick lands in this format outside of the man lands, so I don't think this would ever be correct to first pick, but I would take it relatively highly, even if I didn't know if I was in colorless yet, just for the mana fixing ability. If I was in colorless, this becomes an even higher pick for me. Next up, we have another land, an uncommon one, Tranquil Expanse. Tranquil Expanse enters the battlefield tapped. Tap, add green or white to your mana pool. Not first pick. You're not going to take this first pick. You're going to take this when you know that you're in green and or white, especially if you're in both. And that's really all there is to say about these lands. There's not much else to say. Absolutely not a first pick. Baloth Pup. 1 and a green for a creature beast at uncommon. It's a 3/1. It has trample as long as it has a +1/+1 counter on it. Obviously, this really, really, really wants you to play it with support. It's a 3/1 for 2, which is totally fine. I've always been happy with 3/1s for 2, although I generally prefer them to be in white, something like Oresco Swiftclaw. But it's still fine in green. Of course, green is still very weak in Oath of the Gatewatch. It's still not a color you super want to be playing. Currently, however, this might be the first pick, but let's hope we get something non-green. Flare Drone, 1 black-red for a creature Eldrazi Drone at uncommon. It's a 3/1, it has Devoid, it has First Strike, and whenever another colorless creature enters the battlefield under your control, target opponent loses 1 life. So we've got another 3/1. This one costs 1 more, but it has First Strike. 3/1 First Strike is great. That can attack into a lot of things. That can block a lot of things. And hey, every time you play a colorless spell, which you're probably going to be doing in black-green or in black-red, you're going to be hitting your opponent for 1 life. I'm a pretty big fan of Flare Drone. I haven't played with it personally yet, but I've seen it do a lot of work. You don't generally want to first pick a gold card, but I think this is nearing first pickable quality. Very happy with Flare Drone. Yeah, very happy with it. And our rare is certainly not first pickable in any way, shape, or form. Call it the Gatewatch. 2 and a white for a sorcery. Search your library for a Planeswalker card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. I don't care if you've already opened a Planeswalker. You don't take this card. You don't take it. You don't play it. It's terrible. It's just terrible. It's absolutely worthless. It's definition of an F-. Don't play it. Don't take it. Should be last pick every single pack. Terrible card. That's unfortunate for us to open. And hey, we've got a swamp and a zombie. So this is a bad pack. This is a bad pack. We are looking at Flare Drone, Baloth Pup, and a third card is really hard to pick. I guess Zulaport Chain Mage. Yeah, I don't have words for this pack. This pack is one of the worst packs I've ever opened. I think I'm going to go for the Flare Drone. My bias against green kills off the Baloth Pup, and not only my bias, but the actual statistics that green is just bad in this format, as it was in Battle for Zendikar, kind of kills off Baloth Pup. Zulaport Chain Mage, as I said, I don't think it's quite strong enough to be a first pick. And Flare Drone really, really is. It kind of puts me into 2 colors for my first pick, which isn't great, but it's just a solid, aggressive, really, really good card. So, Flare Drone, that's my first pick. Let me know what your first pick would have been. Would it have been the Baloth Pup? Would it have been the Chain Mage? Would it have been some other card? Leave any words of condolences as to how bad this pack was down in the comments below. But as always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can find me on Twitter at The Mana Leak. That's L-E-E-K, like the vegetable, not the card. And you can also find me on Twitter at, no, not Twitter, Facebook, at facebook.com/themanaleak. You've already found me here on YouTube. You've got the comment section down below. As I said, make use of that. As well, if you enjoy my videos, please click the thumbs up icon so that I know that you like the videos, the world knows that you like the videos, and that my videos keep rising up through the ranks. As well, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. There's the subscribe button in the outro of each video and one underneath each video. That will keep you up to date on all the latest Crack Pack Tuesdays, Wacky Wednesdays, Top 10 Thursdays, Spiky Saturdays, and all the other videos that pop up here and or there. But as always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you all next time.